Today is day 6. Yep, day 6. And it's a windy day 6. It's a little cooler too. It's supposed to even get cooler. Temperatures are going to drop 10 degrees in the next few days. So anyway, it's still rideable, but it'll be a little chilly. I'm in Canaraville. Why I'm in Canaraville, I don't know. I was trying to get to Walmart and I missed the exit and I ended it back on the interstate. And there was nowhere to get across for 15-20 minutes down the road and until I got here to Canaraville. And then I saw this road, which looks interesting. So I'm going to go exploring. Got no idea where it goes, but I'm sure it's going to be cool up there. Starting to see some clouds roll in too. It's the first day where I've seen, a lot of clouds. You can tell by the movement there that the wind is moving pretty quick. I was thinking that I might talk a little bit about some of the random motorcycle knowledge that I have. It's by no means a complete book of knowledge or anything, but there's a few little tricks and preferences and things that might be helpful to somebody that's out touring or dirt biking. and I did want to start with some safety knowledge, I guess. The first one is your helmet. I know there's a lot of guys, especially the Harley guys, they feel like it's some attack on their freedom if they're forced to wear a helmet. Well, let me tell you, it's freaking stupid not to wear a helmet. My wife and I cared for my wife's sister who was injured in a car accident, and she has severe brain damage. And, it's really a burden. I don't say a burden. What happens is when someone in your family is injured to that degree, it changes your life. So if you're not going to wear a helmet to protect yourself, I suggest you do it because you care about your family. So wear a helmet and wear any other safety gear that you can afford. Buy the best you can afford. It's hopefully it'll never come into play, but at the very least, get some good boots and gloves and a jacket with some shoulder pads and knee pads. I'm scared to ride without the protective gear. I rarely do it. Even if it's hot out, I'd rather just have the gear on. They even make mesh jackets. I have one of those. It's nice. It's like a blow through. The wind blows right through the mesh, but it has all the armor in the back and the shoulders and the elbows. So if you go down, you've got something. And I've gone down. I went down on my WR on Maui in the mud. I hit a little mud patch or something. I don't even know what happened, but I don't know. I was probably doing 30 miles an hour, and I came off the bike, and I flew about 15 feet, landed on my shoulder, and fortunately, I had no damage at all because I had a helmet and I had my gloves and my jacket on. So wear protective gear. Always let somebody know where you're going. Here I am out in Canaraville. No one knows where I am. Next stop, I'll send a text to my wife or I'll post something on Facebook. They also make a lot of electronics now that will track where you're at. I just learned yesterday from Jay that there's an app that'll for your iPhone that will track you and send alerts out to whoever you designate. So I'm going to take a look at that. But leave breadcrumbs. I always do that. I do that. Facebook's great. The only problem is if you don't have a cell signal, you can't leave breadcrumbs. So when you have a signal, use it. I'm going to make a run up just a little bit higher, and I'm probably going to come back down. It's just too chilly. Yeah, bring plenty of warm gear if you're traveling up in the mountains. As much as you can carry. You're limited space-wise, but you can bring a few things. I have liners for these riding pants. So I've got a t-shirt on, and a long sleeve shirt, and then I've got a fleece vest, and then my riding jacket, and I'm still cold. On the bigger touring bikes, you can get the, what do they call them, Gerbing heated vest, and other brands too, but Gerbing's is the one I used to have. It's probably the most well-known. And you can just plug in your vest or jacket into your bike, and they're quite effective. You can get a thermostat and control the temperature, but they do dry out your skin pretty good. But sometimes you have to have it. Some bikes have heated hand grips. Unfortunately, this isn't one of them. I remember I was going through Minnesota on one of my first cross-country trips on a little Honda Shadow 600. Rode that all the way from San Francisco to Miami. But, it was so cold up there in Minnesota. I was buying these little chemical hand glove warmers and putting them in my feet, in my shoes, to keep my feet warm. I really wasn't prepared for that on that trip. I learned a lot, mostly what not to do. If you're going to do any cross-country touring, the bike to have is a BMW GS, a 1200. Really, it does it all. You can ride that thing 100 miles a day, 100 miles an hour all day long. There's no problem, in total comfort. Super reliable. You can take them down roads like this, no problem. Plenty of storage with saddlebags. There's some imitation bikes, but the GS is really the way to go. A few years back, I took a buddy down to Mexico, John. I met him out in, where did I meet him? In Austin, Nevada, on Highway 50. We just became friends. He was riding with his wife, and he's from New York. So we just stayed in touch, and I mentioned to him that I was going to take a ride down to Mexico, to Baja. It's not part of Mexico, and he's like, "Can I go?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." And he had no dirt riding experience. I had some, but he had zero. And it just turned out that it was we started hitting some rough patches, and right away I could tell it was, a mistake to go down there with him. And he was, there was several parts, in the sand particularly, which is really hard to ride on a big heavy bike. He was really struggling with it. At one point I got a little bit ahead of him, and I didn't notice that I was pulling it, that I was pulling away. And I stopped and waited, and he didn't come around the corner. So I turned back and went looking for him, and I got down back there a few miles, and finally I could see him standing in the road, but I couldn't see his bike anywhere. It was like, "Where's the bike?" So I get up to him, I'm like, "John, what happened? Where's your bike?" And he pointed down the ditch, and his bike was down in the ditch, completely upside down. A brand new 2009 or 10 GS that he bought just for the trip. And there it was upside down. And anyway, we got it out of the ditch, got it upright, and there was only a few little minor scratches, and there was a little bracket on the windshield that come loose and broke, and that's it. And then we went on to finish the trip with no problem. We just stayed out of the sand as much as we could. That was hard. I actually went down once or twice in the sand myself. And if you're new to an area and you're just trying to gather some knowledge, just look for some other bikers. Just stop and make friends and ask them where the trails are. Most people are more than happy to share their knowledge. This is interesting. What the heck is this? Whoa! These sunglasses. Check those out on the way out. This kind of looks like Maui up in the crater. Brr. That's snow. That's mud. Okay, let's go see if those are some expensive Italian sunglasses. Hey, another important piece of safety advice. Locating a place to put your kickstand down. My bike has gone over so many times by not having a good solid place to put your kickstand in the ground. Okay, are these worth salvaging? No. I've been using this hydration system, which is a backpack with a bladder in it for liquids, and then there's some storage too. And I really like it. I've not really used them before, but it's great. You can grab a drink of water or whatever when you're, when you're riding. You can, you don't even have to take your helmet off. There's a hose that comes out of it, and a little valve, and you just pop it in your mouth, and you got some liquids. I've also been mixing electrolytes into the water, so just to help with any cramping, which sometimes happens on if you're out riding for a long period of time, your legs start to cramp. I start to cramp in my hips. But I've been using electrolytes and no problem. Check your tire pressure before you ride every day. Oil your chain. I'm not a tire expert, but I've been running these Dunlop 606s on my dirt bike, and I really like them. You can never find the perfect tire if you're on a dual sport. I mean, there's a balance between performance in the dirt and the performance on the highway, and the stiffness of the tire, the longevity of the tire. The tires that are soft are going to give you better performance, but they don't last so long. But I found, for me, the Dunlop 606s have been really great. There's so many tires. The tires on this I'm running that came with the bike are Maxxis tires, and I like them. They're a little soft, but they're not DOT approved, so I don't feel too safe on the freeway with them. I just bought a pair of what are they? They're Pirelli Scorpions, and I'll put those on next week. They're medium soft, and I've heard good things. I've never run them, but I've heard good things about them. And there's plenty of knobbies on it, and it looks pretty aggressive, so we'll give them a try. And those are DOT approved. Wow, I'm getting cold. So on tubeless tires, like my GS, my BMW 1200 GS. I've had many flat tires on those, and they're expensive tires. I run all different brands: Torrance, Dunlop, Metzler. But I have found that the plug-in kits on those plug-in kits are really great for repairing tubeless tires. You just get some needle nose and pull out the nail or whatever happens to be in there, put the plug in there, and you're good to go. They don't recommend that you run the tire, you know, for long with the plug, but I've run those things till the tires are gone, and I've never had a problem with the plug holding. You can't really plug a hole on the side of the tire because of the flex, but anywhere else it's pretty solid.